Web development is the work of building and maintaining websites. It is the job behind everything we use on the internet. Think about your favorite social media site, or maybe a news website you read every morning. A web developer built those things. They wrote the code that makes the site work. This code tells the web browser how to display the text, the images, and the buttons. It also handles what happens when you click on something. Web development is a creative and technical skill. It combines design with programming to make useful and beautiful things for the world to see and use online. Websites are more than just digital pages with words. They are interactive experiences. A developer's job is to create that experience. They might build a simple blog for a writer. The work involves a lot of problem solving. Developers must figure out the best way to make a website fast, easy to use, and secure for its visitors. It is kind of like being an architect and a construction worker for the digital world. You first plan the structure and then you build it piece by piece. Every website you visit is made of code. This code is written in special languages that computers can understand. Web developers are fluent in these languages. They use them to give instructions to the web browser. For example, they tell the browser to make the text a certain color or size. Essentially, web developers translate human ideas into a functional website that people can interact with from anywhere in the world, using their computer or their phone. The field of web development is always changing. New tools and new technologies appear all the time. This makes it an exciting career. Developers build things for businesses, for artists, for schools, and for individuals. They can work alone or as part of a large team. The end goal is always the same: to create a website that meets a specific need and provides a good experience for the user. It is a rewarding job where you get to see your creations come to life. Web development is often split into two main areas. These are called the front end and the back end. The front end is everything you see and interact with in your web browser. It is the visual part of the website. This includes the layout of the page, the colors, the fonts, and the images. It also includes the buttons, links, and forms you click on and fill out. A front-end developer focuses on making the website look good and easy to use. They are responsible for the user's experience. A front-end developer uses specific languages to build the visual side of a website. The main three languages are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML, or hypertext markup language, is used to create the structure and content of the page. It is like the skeleton of the website. CSS, or cascading style sheets, is used to style the HTML content. It adds colors, fonts, and layouts, making the website visually appealing. JavaScript is then used to make the website interactive. It makes things happen when a user clicks a button or scrolls down the page. The back end is the part of the website you do not see. It is the server, the application, and the database that work behind the scenes. The back end powers the front end. It is responsible for storing and organizing data. It also makes sure everything on the client side works correctly. For example, when you log into a website, the back end checks if your username and password are correct. When you buy something online, the back end processes your payment information securely. Back-end developers build and maintain the technology that makes all of this possible. Back-end developers use different programming languages than front-end developers. Some popular back-end languages include Node.js, which uses JavaScript, Python, Ruby, and PHP. They also work with databases like MySQL or PostgreSQL to store data. A back-end developer's job is to make sure the server communicates correctly with the browser. While front-end is about how the website looks and feels, back-end is all about how the website works. Both are essential for creating a complete and functional website. Your journey into web development starts with the front end. The first language you should learn is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the standard language for creating web pages. It is not a programming language, but a markup language. This means it uses tags to define the structure of your content. You use HTML tags to create headings, paragraphs, lists, links, and images. Learning HTML is like learning the alphabet before you learn to write sentences. It is the fundamental building block of every single website you see on the internet. Once you understand how to structure a page with HTML, the next step is CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. CSS is what you use to make your websites look good. While HTML provides the structure, CSS provides the style. You can use CSS to change the color of your text, the font you use, and the spacing between your paragraphs. You can also use it to create complex layouts with columns and grids. Learning CSS allows you to take a plain HTML document and turn it into a beautifully designed page. It gives you control over the entire visual presentation of your website. Think of HTML and CSS as two parts of a whole. You cannot have one without the other for a modern website. A website with only HTML would look very plain and dated, like a simple text document. You will learn to link a CSS file to an HTML file. This keeps your content separate from your design, which is a very good practice. Start by learning the basics of both. Learn how to create a simple HTML page, and then how to add simple styles with CSS. You can start learning HTML and CSS right now. There are many free resources available online. Websites like FreeCodeCamp, the Odin Project, and MDN Web Docs offer excellent tutorials for beginners. They provide step-by-step instructions and interactive exercises. The best way to learn is by doing. Do not just read about the tags and properties. Open a text editor on your computer, create a new file and start writing code. Build a simple page about one of your hobbies. This hands-on practice will help you understand how HTML and CSS work together to create a web page. To become a web developer, you need the right tools. The good news is that most of these tools are free. The first tool you need is a good code editor. A code editor is a text editor designed for writing code. It helps you by highlighting your code with different colors, which makes it easier to read. It can also autocomplete parts of your code and help you find errors. Some popular and free code editors for beginners are Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, and Atom. Download one of them and use it for all your coding projects. Another essential tool is your web browser. You already use a web browser every day, but for a developer it is also a powerful tool for testing and debugging. Modern browsers like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and Microsoft Edge come with built-in developer tools. You can open them by right-clicking on any web page and selecting Inspect. These tools let you see the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript of any website. You can even edit the code live in the browser to see how your changes would look. This is incredibly useful for fixing problems with your own code. You will also need to learn how to use Git. Git is a version control system. It helps you keep track of the changes you make to your code over time. Imagine you are working on a project, and you make a change that breaks everything. With Git, you can easily go back to a previous version of your code that worked. It is like having a history of every change you have ever made. Git is also essential for working with other developers on the same project. It allows everyone to work on their own copy of the code and then merge their changes together without conflicts. To use Git effectively, you will also use a service like GitHub or GitLab. GitHub is a website where you can store your code projects online. It uses Git to manage your code. When you store your code on GitHub, you create a remote repository. This acts as a backup for your code. It also allows you to share your code with others. Potential employers will often look at your GitHub profile to see the projects you have worked on. Learning how to use Git and GitHub is a critical skill that almost every web development job requires today. A portfolio is a collection of your projects. It is, honestly, the most important thing you will create as a new web developer. A portfolio shows potential employers what you can do. It is proof of your skills. Your resume can say you know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, but your portfolio shows it. It demonstrates your ability to build real things. You do not need to wait until you are an expert to start building your portfolio. You should start building it as soon as you have learned the basics. Your very first projects can be simple, but they should be well made and complete. Your first portfolio project could be a personal website about yourself. This is a classic project for a reason. It allows you to practice all the skills you have learned. You will use HTML to structure the content about your skills, your projects, and how to contact you. You will use CSS to design the page and make it look professional and unique. You could even add some simple JavaScript to make it more interactive, like a button that reveals more information. This project is a great way to introduce yourself to the world as a budding developer. After your personal site, you can create a few more small projects. The key is to choose projects that are interesting to you. This will keep you motivated to finish them. You could try to clone the look of a simple website that you like. This will test your HTML and CSS skills. You could build a simple web application like a to-do list or a calculator. This will give you great practice with JavaScript. For each project, focus on writing clean, well-organized code. Add comments to your code to explain what it does. Once you have a few projects, you need to display them. Your personal website is the perfect place to host your portfolio. Create a project section on your site. For each project, include a screenshot, a short description of what it does, and a link to view the live project. You should also include a link to the code on your GitHub profile. This allows employers to not only see the finished product, but also to look at the quality of your code. A strong portfolio with 3 to 5 solid projects is often more valuable than any certificate or degree.